Hey guys, we're here doing Justice League and Justice League Unlimited episode ranking. I'm here with Sight,
What's good, everybody?
uh, a friend of mine. We went through and did a rewatch of all these episodes a while back. Figure it's time to rank them. Check out his YouTube in the description. Um, so yeah, to start out with, we have Secret Origins, which is the pilot, 3 parts, and I think this is a I don't think this is an S tier episode, or episodes, but I think A plus is deserving.
Yeah, I think also we put it into A plus. I think that's a good ranking.
So yeah, if you didn't know, all these episodes for Justice League are grouped up, like part one and part two are grouped together. So that may skew it a little bit, but we're just going to treat it as one 44-minute episode.
Oh, wait, did you order them? One of them was out of order.
I
Remember?
Yeah, I think it was Paradise Lost. Maybe we'll get to that in a second here. All right, in Blackest Night. Um, I like this episode a lot. Maybe not as much as Secret Origins, but right there with it. I would say this is an A tier episode for me.
Yeah, either A tier or like behind, so like A plus. I don't know. It's up to you if you want to go A plus or A.
I'm gonna go with A. I think it's a little bit behind Secret Origins. All right. So for the enemy below, I really liked the introduction into Aquaman's character arc. Mira was strong. His arm sacrifice for his kid was also really cool. Orm was really good villain. I think this is an A plus episode for me.
I'd probably go A tier, but again, it's up to you. We would have put it.
All right, I'll put this one in. I think this could be like the back end of A plus.
All right.
All right. All right. Then we have Injustice for All is actually supposed to be the next episode. I don't know why I had it there, but Injustice for All, this is the first big villain team up under Lex Luthor, where you have Copperhead, Cheetah, Grundy, and Ultra Human Knight, and Star Sapphire, and Shade, trying to chase that bag off of Lex Luthor, who's dying from cancer, from kryptonite radiation. And I really enjoyed this episode. I think this is the best episode so far, and I'm willing to put it in S.
Yeah, we were saying S tier, and I agree with that.
Batman
Good episode.
raising up Cheetah, all-time iconic moment into Batman's charisma. Alright, Paradise Lost. So, this is where Felix Faust turns all the Amazonians into stone, and Wonder Woman and the Justice League have to go into hell to fight Hades, or release Hades from Tartarus, my bad. And then Hippolyta bans Wonder Woman for bringing men onto the island at the end of the episode. So, excuse me, this episode, I would say probably a B plus for me.
Yeah, I mean B plus, B minus. It is stupid that concept. You brought men, and you're getting banned. Like it's just so stupid. Like Wonder Woman saved you guys. I don't know, but it's up to you.
I'll go B minus. Alright, and in case you didn't notice, there's no F tier because I don't think anything belongs in F. We got War World, another really interesting episode, and it really showcases how much Superman holds back until he needs to, and I really liked the duo of Superman and Martian Manhunter together in this episode, so I'm willing to give it an A.
I like the concept of this episode. I'd probably go A plus.
A plus?
Yeah, cool concept.
I can live with an A plus. Alright, The Brave and the Bold. Alright, so This is where Gorilla Grodd makes his introduction alongside his scientist friend, lover. Let's not go too deep down that rabbit hole. So anyway, we got the brainwashing, and we got the Supreme Patty headbands that he was using to mind control people. And yeah, I think this is probably the weakest episode so far. Not that it was a bad one. And if I'm not mistaken, we got this may have been the episode where we get introduced to Flash's hydraulic van, and that was pretty dope. But I'm gonna go B minus.
I'd also B minus. I do like that concept of like that invisible force field city. It's very interesting.
All right, Fury. So this is where the rogue Amazonian Arisia comes in, and she poisons all the men and works with some female villains, and it's only to discover that a man saved her at birth from dying during a war, which sent her to the Amazonian island to begin with. And I really like the hot girl and Wonder Woman dynamic in this episode. This was pretty strong for me. I like it. I think it's an A tier episode.
You go an A plus, or
I think I'm going to A.
Alright, I'd probably go B plus. It's kind of just up to you again.
Alright. Well, I'm going to go A. I think I liked it as much as Blackest Night.
Alright.
Legends. Alright, I think this is the weakest episode so far. It's an interesting concept. It's a reference to the Silver Age. It's just a Justice Guild.
You get the bootleg Justice League.
Yeah. And I don't know, I didn't vibe with this plotline as much. So I'm gonna go C.
Going into C, yep.
Alright, A Night of Shadows. We're introduced to Etrigan, Morgan Le Fay, and Joffrey. Yeah. So we deal with the Philosopher's Stone, and I always like the Etrigan dynamic to the group. So to me, the rest of I'm not big on Morgan Le Fay and her son especially, so I'm gonna go B minus.
Yeah, B minus, B plus. I do like Etrigan as a character a lot, so can maybe make the argument for B plus.
All right, Metamorphosis. This episode's stronger for me. So we get Rex Mason, who transforms into Metamorpho, and because Simon Stagg was jealous that he's dating his no-nose daughter, so I really like his character Metamorpho, and I feel like he was interesting dynamic. No, I just like this episode. I feel like it flowed pretty smoothly, and it utilized the entire Justice League, which is always strong when all the characters are there for the same episode. Sometimes
characters are AFK.
Yeah, sometimes you get an AFK character or two not here. So I'm gonna go with A.
Alright, that's what I was thinking, like B plus.
Alright, The Savage Time. Alright, I don't need to talk about this one too much. This is instant S tier. This is World War II. This brought back so many dynamics. We got Wonder Woman and Steve Trevor. We get Green Lantern to get thrown back into his military days without his powers. There's everything to like about this episode. Vandal Savage rewriting time, using futuristic technology, basically taking the keys from Hitler's Ferrari. Yeah. No, I love this 3-part episode. This was amazing. I think this is actually better than Injustice for All. And now we're on to season 2. Twilight. So yeah, I vaguely remember this episode. So Apocalypse is duping the Justice League into thinking Brainiac's attacking, if I recall correctly. we get the iconic "he's worse than the Flash" ass slap. Yeah, Superman really doesn't like Brainiac or Darkseid. I feel like his vendetta towards them is interesting. He kind of hates them more than any other villains. I'm willing to put this one in the B plus.
Yeah, I guess that's right. I do like the ending. Superman's trying to finish the job and he just can't. He has to get out of there. So.
All right, Tabula Rasa. We get
Yes, sir.
And the introduction of the most OP character, Amazo.
Not only OP, like coolest concept. One of the coolest characters ever.
Yeah, this very cool character.
Let's go straight to S tier.
S tier. I was thinking A plus, but
like Amazo is one of the coolest just characters in all of DCAU.
Yeah, give us more Amazo. S tier. I can live with that. Either that or A plus. Only a Dream. So we get John D, who decides to terrorize people in their dreams. I'm really not as big on this two-parter as some of the other episodes, but Batman humming an annoying song to keep him out of his head and eventually beat him, that was pretty iconic. So I'm willing to go B minus.
Yeah, that's fair.
Alright, Maid of Honor. And this is Bruce Timm getting his way at his finest. So we got Audrey Casnia, the princess, and we get to see Wonder Woman figure out how to have some fun on her own. And it turns out there's an arranged marriage between the princess and Vandal Savage, who they literally just dealt with. I would say I like this episode a lot. I would say it's probably a A tier episode for me.
Not a B plus.
B plus. I'm gonna go with A. I just like the opening up Wonder Woman's dynamic a little bit. I thought that was fun.
Alright.
Alright, Hearts and Minds. We deal with Despero. We're introduced to Kat Matsui and a little bit of GL's past. And once again, this is Bruce Timm kind of having his way episode. Hearts and Minds. I would say this episode is probably a B plus or B minus for me.
Yeah, either or.
I'm gonna go
maybe B minus.
B minus. Alright, A Better World. We get introduced to the Justice Lords in the alternate reality, and Justice League has to take them on, and Batman's able to convince the alternate Batman to turn against the Justice Lords, and this was pretty elite material. I'd have to go S tier for this episode.
Yep, cool concept.
Alright, Eclipsed. And so the Snake Spirit episode with the weird advertisement at the end. More like, what was it? More fear. Alright, this episode kind of a blur, if I'm being honest. I remember Flash.
This episode's going to C tier.
I remember Flash clutching up a bit, but yeah, I can live with C tier. I think it's better than Legends, but yeah. Alright, The Terror Beyond. Alright, this is, I believe, The Terror Beyond is Dr. Fate, Grundy, and this is where Grundy dies helping out Hawkgirl, and it establishes one of the most surprising relationships or dynamics, or probably the most surprising emotional dynamic in the entire series so far was the Hawkgirl Grundy caring ship. And that came out of nowhere, and I have to respect that. I think this is an A plus or A episode.
Yeah, I like Solomon Grundy, and that's going into A plus.
Yeah,
It's really
just
cool.
for creating an emotional moment between two characters that were under the radar that heavily at the beginning of the series, I have to respect that. All right, Secret Society. Um, so we get a team up from Giganta, Killer Frost, Sinestro, Parasite Shading Clayface.
Dude, Giganta.
And then they fight in front of a giant stadium. I like this a lot. I like the villain team up episodes. I like the squad dynamic. See, yeah, the Giganta and Grodd flirting was a little bit weird, but alright.
Dude.
I'm willing to go A plus or A.
I'm thinking A.
A. I think this goes to the front of A. Oh, yeah, there we go. Hereafter. Alright, so this is more of a reference to Superman's Doomsday. And Superman gets sent back in time and has to work with Vandal Savage to... Or he gets sent forward in time 30,000 years. And Lobo comes in, he nominates himself as Superman's replacement. So we get a Lobo and a Justice League team up. We get Superman working with Vandal Savage, and we start developing respect for Vandal Savage, which I didn't even think was possible about 5 episodes earlier. And I really enjoyed this two-parter. I love that Superman Vandal Savage team up, and I loved Lobo's dynamic with the Justice League.
Yeah, and also just the plot and concept as well.
I think this is S tier deserving.
I was thinking A plus, but if you want to go S, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm gonna go S. I'm putting that one down. All right, wild cards. So we get an episode in Vegas, and Superman plants all the time bombs, or not Superman, Joker plants all the bombs, and it's kind of a meta humor episode in that the bombs are timed at 22 minutes, the length of the episode. I would say this episode was pretty enjoyable. This felt like kind of a wheelhouse episode where, this was kind of like the safe bet, but not a huge concept, but they made it work really well. And I loved how we're kind of introduced into Ace's psychic, or Ace's psyche. I would say
That was episode like the very end. Flash is able to grab the funnel bomb and like throw it into the river.
Oh yeah, Flash really speeds up at the last second.
Yeah.
I think this is an A tier episode.
Yeah, I think that's fair. They haven't really used B plus.
Comfort and Joy, the Christmas special. Finally, we get a 22-minute episode. Alright, so this is supposed to be like a little warm episode. Nothing crazy. We get Flash getting kind of hanging out with some villains and showing some humanity towards them. Pretty chill episode. I'll go B plus.
This is the episode that gave like Ultra Human Knight like a toy or whatever.
Yeah, Ultra Human Knight designs the toy for the kids at the orphanage. I think B plus is okay for this one.
Yeah, I think B plus. Yeah.
A little safe bet. All right, Star-Crossed, a 3-parter. Hawk Girl betrays the Justice League, and we deal with the Thanagarian invasion. Yeah, I think this whole 3-parter was excellent. It has some of the most iconic scenes in the entire series. Batman ripping off everyone's mask and revealing Superman and Flash's identity. That was iconic scene. Everything about this was pretty strong. I would say this is easily S tier.
Yeah, I agree.
I think maybe like this. I think it's a little behind Savage Time, but I think second best so far, and that's the first 2 seasons. Now we have Justice League Unlimited, which is singular episodes.
Yep, JLU.
All right. So we have episode 1, Initiation. And we have Green Lantern, Captain Atom, and Supergirl. So Supergirl makes her debut, and they have to fight a giant robot in Eastern Asia. And it's kind of a build up for Supergirl as Green Lantern looks over her. And it was a good first episode. I can't really complain about it. And we get the flirting between Green Arrow and Canary at the end of the episode, and Green Arrow kind of makes his debut too. So I would say this is a B+ episode.
That's fine. B+ or A.
Alright, for the man who is everything. So this is adapted from a very notable Superman comic. Excuse me. And so basically Superman gets a gift that's secretly from Mongol. It's a plant, and he's kind of living out his own fantasy where he has a son and a wife, which is a weird amalgamation of Lana and Lois. Probably should question that more.
Which is funny. He wants both.
Then we get a look into Batman's psyche too, where his parents are actually winning the gunfight. Yeah, this is a really strong episode, considering it's really just 4 characters. Batman, Wonder Woman, and Mongol, and Superman. So I'm gonna go A.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I would go A+ actually. Yeah, that emotional moment between Superman and his son that doesn't exist, pretty strong. Alright, kids. Alright, so next one's Hawk and Dove. Apparently, in episode order. I don't know why kids stuff is there. Alright. Alright, so Hawk and Dove. Wonder Woman teams up with them, and there's a civil war in Europe that Ares is behind, and this is primarily just Wonder Woman, Hawk, and Dove. And yeah, nothing notable about this episode. I guess it's a okay concept. I'm gonna go top of C tier.
Yeah, that's fair.
Alright, next is Fearful Symmetry, where we're introduced to Galatea. We find out about Cadmus Labs. We're introduced to The Question, which might be my favorite Justice League Unlimited character. So Supergirl's having disturbing dreams because it's still a little bit of a mind merger between her and Galatea for a little bit. And Galatea is based on Power Girl, and she's got the boob window, so Bruce Timm. Yeah, I like this episode. I would say A. I liked, Question, Supergirl, and Galatea all in one episode. No, that's worth at least an A for me.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Alright, kid stuff. Where we get Mordred, Morgan Le Fay's son, turns everyone into kids, banishes all the adults, so the Justice League turns into kids at the help of Morgan Le Fay to defeat him. So we get the Justice Babies. And let's not make a series out of this, DC. No. For a one-off thing, I thought it was alright. I can go B+. I thought it was pretty funny.
B+, B-.
Yeah, I think I'd rather see this episode than these ones. Alright, we get This Little Piggy, where Wonder Woman gets turned into a pig. By Cersei, who's doing it as revenge against Queen Hippolyta, Wonder Woman's mother. We're introduced to Zatanna, always an S tier character,
The episode where Batman sings at the end.
Oh yeah, Batman singing at the end, all-time iconic moment.
Mm-hmm.
We're introduced to Bawana Beast, who interesting character. I like this episode a lot. I think this is an A+ episode.
Yeah, A plus.
A+. Am I blue? No. All right. The greatest story ever told, which is the Booster Gold centric episode.
Let's go.
So we got Booster Gold, we got Skeets, and
two fantastic characters.
yeah, I would have liked to see more of Booster Gold in JLU. I feel like he could have been like a helpful side in another episode. I'm willing to go A.
Yeah, I think A's fair.
Then we get the return of Amazo.
Mm-hmm.
And Lex Luthor is throwing out every single big weapon, and Amazo basically takes on the entire Justice League because they're worried about him destroying the planet. Like, I mean, that was just awesome. Like,
right, because he went out and gained all the knowledge from the universe, then came back.
and then Lex Luthor saves everyone by convincing Amazo that there's more to life than nothing, and sends him to Dr. Fate to learn. And I think this is an S tier episode easily.
Nope. Amazo, S tier.
Ultimatum. We meet the Ultimen, which are basically Cadmus Science Lab creations by Amanda Waller and Professor Hamilton, who betrayed Superman at some point. And eventually they all turn against the Justice League after finding out the truth. Except for Long Shadow, I believe, which he was brought back in Young Justice, if I'm not mistaken. I'm gonna go C tier for this episode.
Yeah, I agree.
Darkheart. Alright. So we get the alien nanotechnology in battle in the desert. And we get basically the entire freaking Justice League battling robots in the desert for an entire episode until Adam, not Captain Adam, but just Adam, goes inside one of the robots and destroys it from within. So it was basically an entire episode of the Justice League taking on respawn bots and
like AI robots that kept replicating
and recruit difficulty. So I mean, it basically just gave him a chance to talk and chill for the most part, so it set up some interesting dynamics, so I'm gonna go A tier.
I'd probably go B plus.
I can work top of B plus. Adam getting into Wonder Woman's cleavage, just nonchalantly, that's a W.
What's your dream?
Alright. Wake the Dead. So, Solomon Grundy accidentally gets resurrected. And Amazo, Aquaman, Dr. Fate, and Hawkgirl have to stop his rampage. And Superman is trying to restore Hawkgirl's public image in the public. Or for the public who still hates her for betraying the Earth. And she gets accepted back into the League. And you could tell there's definitely some bad blood between her and Vixen. Or not bad blood, but there's definitely a jealousy angle between her and Vixen by this point over Green Lantern. I would say this is a pretty strong episode. I would say A.
Yeah, I go A.
Alright, and then we get the Wild West two-parter, where Kronos goes to the past, and because of his nagging wife, because he actually wants to accomplish something, we get introduced to Jonah Hex, We get the Wild West shootout with Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman in Wild West outfits. And we get references to the future. We get some Batman Beyond character cameos, especially
Which
in
is
part.
cool.
So this is part 1 and part 2. Part 1 is more Wild West centric. I'm gonna go A+ for this one. And there's so much. We get Static Shock in this episode. We get Terry McGinnis. We get old Batman from Batman Beyond interrogating people. This is how you interrogate someone. No. I'm gonna go S here for
part 2.
Part 2.
Part 2.
Mm-hmm.
Where you also get to see like Shining Knight, I think's what his name is, and like there's that other dude.
I'm not sure if it was Shiny Knight. I'll have to look and see. Alright, The Cat and the Canary, Season 2, Episode 1. So they're trying. Black Canary and Green Arrow trying to stop Wildcat from a underground fight club, and basically it's an entire episode of Green Arrow and Black Canary on a date that's not a date, and yeah, it establishes that relationship, and eventually they stop Wildcat. Yeah, that little Fight Club episode.
There's that one scene that you showed me.
I think that was before. Alright. The Cat and the Canary, I would say B+.
Yeah, B+.
Ties that bind. So this is an episode. We have Mr. Miracle, Big Barda, Granny Goodness, so we're on Apocalypse. And they have to free their friend Oberion with help from the Flash. And also we get some Calibec. I like this episode a lot, actually. I think Mr. Miracle and Big Barda were really good additions. I really don't see any reason why this episode shouldn't be A tier at a minimum.
Yeah, A.
The Doomsday Sanction. Batman investigates Waller in her own home. If I'm not mistaken, he just meets her right out of the frickin' shower, which is, I don't need images of Amanda Waller getting out of the shower in my head. No, thank you. So we get the Project Cadmus group of Waller, Hamilton, Eileen, or General Eileen, Hugo Strange, Tala, and Milo, trying to figure out a weapon against Justice League. And we end up getting Doomsday fighting Superman in a volcano. And Batman was basically willing to sacrifice himself once he discovered that General Eileen launched a missile right at Superman. And Superman saves Batman from suing. And Superman sends Doomsday to the Phantom Zone. So we have it was all underneath the guise of an active volcano on an island. So this episode, I would say back end of B+ for me.
Yeah.
Alright, Task Force X. Alright, so another Cadmus makes up a Cadmus team up. We have Deadshot, Plastique, Captain Boomerang, and Clock King with Flag. And they go undercover in the watch. I like this episode. They went undercover in the watchtower. They basically pretend to be custodians or employees, and they plant a bomb. Or not plant a bomb. It was to steal the Annihilator armor, and then I think they planted a couple bombs along the way. But the whole infiltration of the watchtower, because of how many people are in the Watchtower now really shows the depth of the Justice League, which has been missing a lot of the time. It's like, all right, you have 200 members. Where are they at? We finally get a good dose of it, and we see how many employees are just in the Watchtower, which I really enjoyed. So I think this is an A+ episode for me.
Yeah, A+ sounds right.
It was a really cunning episode for me. I really enjoyed the infiltration in the Watchtower and how casual it was at times. All right, the balance. So Felix Faust goes for revenge on Hades. This is where we get, I believe, the borderline Hugh Hefner moment. Wonder Woman and Hawkgirl are at odds from the betrayal before. And we find out that Hades is Wonder Woman's biological father, I believe. And so I think they work with Flash to get the stones back out of Hades and Faust's possession. And I like this episode. I'd say it's like a B+ for me.
Yeah, B+ sounds about right.
Alright, Double Date. This episode, Question and Huntress, this is an automatic S for me. You know, for a non-big plotline, this 100% deserves to be an S tier. I loved Huntress and Question. This dynamic, easily, this might be the strongest dynamic in Justice League Unlimited.
The Question
is basically unleashed after Huntress is expelled. She gets a chance at Mandragora, who killed her parents, and she decides to spare him after some advice from GL or Green Arrow and Canary. So the reason she didn't kill him is because she saw she had a son, and she saw herself in the son. And it's really a 4-person episode between Question, Huntress, Canary, Arrow, and this was just a really, really strong dynamic. And anytime you just let Question do his thing in an episode and give him 15 minutes of screen time, S tier, easy.
Do you feel like it should be higher in S tier?
Yes, I'm gonna put it a little bit higher.
There you go.
Now we have Clash, where we're introduced to Shazam, Captain Marvel, and Captain Marvel is young, but they don't know it yet, and he's gone through young superhero struggles, including accidentally endorsing Lex for president, and kind of be manipulated by Lex because he's a little bit naive. And Superman kind of gets painted as a bit of a villain for destroying some of Lex's good deeds, supposedly. And it was all plot by Luthor and Amanda Waller to discredit the League. And Superman fell for it. So this episode, between B+ and B-.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go B+. I think this is a good episode. Excuse me. Alright, Hunter's Moon. Or Hunter's Moon, A Mystery in Space. So I need a rehash on this episode. We get a distress signal, which Hawkgirl, Vigilante, and Vixen investigate. And this is where they're on a planet. I remember it now. And this is really a good introduction to Vigilante as a character. You're thinking, what's this dude with a revolver gonna do? And they basically have to navigate this Halo knockoff planet while being chased around by some rogue and they're angry at Hawkgirl because of her double betrayal. And so this is basically a Hawkgirl-centric episode where she has to deal with a lot of past pain of betrayals, basically double betrayals.
Yep.
And she has her own self-doubts, but she comes through. And the Thanagarians are also in trouble because of the war with Gordanians, which is a little side thing. Now I remember this episode, I liked it. I'll go A tier.
Yep. Right into A.
Question authority. Basically Question finds out about the whole Justice Lord's alternate timeline. And we're introduced to the moment where that happened, actually, but Superman doesn't go through with it. He gets presented the opportunity to repeat history, but he doesn't. And Superman learns of Professor Hamilton's involvement with Cadmus. And then we have the fight with Captain Atom and Superman at the end there. So there's a lot in this episode. I think this is a A+ episode. You know, I can't justify anything lower than that. The whole figuring out the alternate timeline, the fight between Superman and the Atom, the whole figuring out Superman versus Dr. Hamilton and figuring about of why he betrayed him. Yeah, A+. All right, Flashpoint. We get more Superman versus Captain Atom, which it's sort of a follow-up from the previous episode, if I recall. The super weapon from the Justice League, Lex Luthor hacks into it, and he fires it on Cadmus, which paints a bad image of the Justice League. So a lot of the second half of the episode is damage control from the Justice League trying to fix their image, and the media is questioning them about why they have a super weapon just sitting up in the space that could blast the Earth at any time. And Galatea attacks the Watchtower with the Ultimate clones. I'll go A.
Yeah, end of A.
Panic in the Sky. The Justice League surrenders to the government, except for Batman, to try to prove their innocence. And Galatea Ultimate are still fighting Supergirl and Steel, and they're just fighting over the Watchtower. And Batman figures out Luthor framed the League. And we find out that Brainiac and Lex Luthor have been merged for a bit.
So that part was very interesting.
So I would say this is a B+ episode. Maybe A.
Maybe A, yeah. I was gonna say A.
A.
Just because of that Brainiac Lex fucking merger.
And then we get more of the Lex Brainiac merger. And, the Justice League was busy with other emergencies. So it's just the League's founding members battling Luthor and Brainiac for a lot of the episode. And then Flash runs around the world multiple times to stop Luthor and Brainiac. And we get the iconic, I don't think I can run any faster than that scene, or where basically Flash says if he runs any faster, he'll die. And he gets teleported to the Speed Force temporarily, too. And then Green Arrow keeps the Justice League together right when they're about to announce their resignation, tells them that they've saved the world so many times that there's no point in quitting now. And he basically inspires the Justice League to keep on going, so they completely change the press conference at the end to keep the Justice League around. So I would say Divided We Fall. I would say A plus.
Yeah.
All right, epilogue. This is kind of a special episode.
Yep.
We find out that Terry McGinnis is Bruce Wayne's biological son and confronts Amanda Waller, who reveals a lot of information for him. She knew the world would always need a Batman, so she sent, ironically, one of Batman's, we had the Mask of the Phantasm, which kicked off Batman the Animated Series, basically, where we get Andrea back, but she doesn't show her face, so just the fact that she sent her to kill Terry's parents, that was pretty freaking crazy. So we found out that she tried to kill Terry's parents and didn't work, and then Terry's father ended up being killed anyway by Mr. Fix under Derek Powers' orders.
Or didn't they also like morph his DNA for?
And
That's how they did it.
It may have had he had enhanced Batman DNA, enhanced Bruce DNA, and Bruce. She kind of revealed some backstories on Bruce and why he pushed him away, and maybe it was a little bit cold. And then at the end of the episode, after all the episode reveals, so this was, and then we get Terry proposing to Dana finally, and then he goes home to take care of an elderly Bruce. And it's just initially supposed to be the series finale for Justice League Unlimited and DCU in general.
Well, it gives us the closure for Batman Beyond, for sure.
And it'll be this was a closure for Batman Beyond. And I think you can make the argument this is an S tier episode.
Yeah, just a little bit weird placement. It should have. The way they did it, I kind of wish Batman Beyond just had an ending kind of like this. It's like they retroactively did it like a couple of years later.
Alright, and then the final season, Season 3, which I guess at this point would just be house money if they were preparing to end it with that. We have I Am Legion, and we get the new Secret Society, Gorilla Grodd, Luther, and we get they try to steal the Spear of Longinus from Black Hawk Island, so we get that iconic team up between Flash, Fire, Hawkgirl, and that World War II era pilot, for whatever reason, that we saw in all the way back in the Savage Time. I like this. This was a great episode. We're introduced
the season.
We're getting introduced to the whole concept of the villain team up, which I believe they kept hidden for a couple episodes. And we got the start of the Flash Fire tease relationship, and Wonder Woman, Hawkgirl being a Wing Woman, ironically. I like it. A plus for me.
Yep.
Alright, Shadow of the Hawk, where we're introduced to Carter Hall, and they go to ancient Egypt, look at a replica, and Batman was eavesdropping the entire time, because he's creeped out by Carter Hall and thinks he's like some online stalker. And we get a reveal into the past history of these two and how they've been reincarnated a whole bunch, and also adds some more backstory to the potential of Hawkgirl cheating on Hawkman with Green Lantern in the past too, or a Jon Stewart prototype. I don't know, that was a little bit strange, but I like this episode. I think it's an A.
Yeah.
Alright, Chaos at the Earth's Core. I love this episode. So we have Supergirl and Stargirl beefing the entire time. They're like borderline upper teens, 18-year-old, 19-year-olds just going at each other. Kind of a power struggle. And then Green Lantern and Stripe are just kind of like the mentors that are a little annoyed with them. And we have a battle with over Skitaris, and we got Metallo going for a large piece of kryptonite. We have dinosaurs, for whatever reason. So we got basically those Vikings at the center of the earth battling a bunch of dinosaurs and dinosaur people. And I like this episode. This was a nice battle episode and had some really cool dynamics. So
Yeah, you like your dinosaurs.
yeah.
So it's going to
I'm gonna put an A+.
A plus.
To Another Shore. So this is a Wonder Woman centric episodes where we have the secret society going after a polar ice cap, I believe. And so Wonder Woman and John, Martian Manhunter's just been kind of an incel in the Watchtower watching monitors. So Wonder Woman gets him back on his feet for a bit. And Wonder Woman has to protect the body of the Viking prince from the secret society, who has invulnerability powers that the secret society is trying to drill from to get it for themselves. And Martian Manhunter at the end of the episode takes a hiatus to blend in with humans to learn more about humanity. I'll go with B+.
Yeah.
Flash and Substance. This is Orion and the Flash team up episode, kind of. So we get Flash's rogues. We get Captain Boomerang, Captain Cold, Mirror Master, and Trickster. And we get
all Flash's villains.
And we get the iconic scene of them all ordering soy boy stuff at the cafe, or soy boy drinks. Admittedly, don't remember this episode fully. I do know about the Flash's dynamic with his villains, which was interesting. So
it is funny.
I'll go A or B+.
I'll go B+.
Dead Man, Dead Reckoning. So we got the monks on the mountain who are fighting the secret society, and Dead Man takes over multiple of the groups. He takes over Batman and Wonder Woman's bodies at different points, and Superman. And while he was possessing Batman, he killed Devil Ray, who was putting Wonder Woman in danger. And at the end, we see the secret society down the bayou where Luthor shoots Grodd and takes over full leadership of the secret society. And if I'm not mistaken, Dead Man may have been spying that entire time too. I'll skate. This is A for me. Let's put Batman in a weird moral compass spot.
A or B+.
Yeah, Patriot Act. So basically we got some of the B tier members or C tier members of the Justice League, and we got the crowd being like, "Who the hell are you guys?" So we basically get Green Arrow, Stargirl, Stripe, Shining Knight, Crimson Avenger, Vigilante, and Speedy protecting the parade against General Eileen, who turns himself into a super soldier. He turns into a monster, basically. His goal is to rid the world of metahumans. And he kind of becomes a hypocrite because he becomes a metahuman himself. So we basically get a group of C-listers taking on Eileen, and he basically screws off at the end. I like this episode. It gave some characters a little more airtime that didn't get airtime. I'm going to go A or B+.
Yeah, I'm thinking A.
The Great Brain Robbery. Oh, I love this episode. So we get a mind swap or body swap between Flash and Lex Luthor. And why are you gonna wash your hands? No, because I'm evil. And we basically Flash trying to be Lex Luthor, and we got Lex Luthor running around the Watchtower as Flash.
Right, he takes off Flash's costume. He's like,
I don't know who this is. This is some of the
It's
most iconic
amazing.
scenes. You know, some of these Justice League Unlimited episodes are hard to remember at first. So the fact that you can remember everything about this episode immediately, and it being that iconic, having those scenes, I think this is an S tier episode. Amazing concept. I think this is up here. Grudge match. This is the ultimate Bruce Timm episode.
This is your favorite episode.
Man, this episode doesn't need a description. It's literally just Bruce Timm animating female of superhero ones to fight each other and beat the shit out of each other.
Blood wrestling.
Yeah. It's a secret.
Yeah.
Lex basically tells Roulette to make some extra money because they need funding, so they open Glamour Slam. And basically just get a whole bunch of Justice League female members fighting each other. And the incel in me gives us an A+.
Go S.
You know, I'll preserve some self-respect by not going S, but, you know, it was still a good episode, not gonna lie.
It's your best watched episode.
Alright, Far From Home. Alright, this episode, where Supergirl gets rizzed up by Brainiac 5 in like 12 minutes and stays in the future. And they work to stop the Fatal 5. And yeah, Supergirl decides to stay in the future of Brainiac 5 over 12 minutes of bonding. Yeah. This episode rubs me the wrong way. C.
This is a D tier episode. It made no sense. It's just like, I'm not going to stay with present timeline. I'm gonna go 1,000 years to the future.
Right. B+ or B-. I can't go any higher than B+.
Go like C. Like
C.
that was just stupid, man.
Alright, that's my biggest bone to pick with Justice League Unlimited, was what they did with Supergirl there. They just kind of dumped her off.
Dumped her off.
Ancient History. Alright, the final 3 episodes. I don't even remember this episode. Oh, this is where we figure out that Hawkgirl, Hawkman, and John are all reincarnations. So this is the episode where oh wow, this episode was actually really good. Green Lantern decides he turns down Hawkgirl's offer for a second chance and decides to stay with Vixen, even though he knows about their son in the future in the alternate timeline. So this is actually a really strong episode. The whole reincarnation thing and figuring out, and basically John ignoring the future to just stick with the present, even though he kind of knows the future now. And basically,
You even remember it.
I mean,
How could you?
I know. I thought that was part of the earlier thing. All right, this episode's really strong. I'm gonna go A+.
Yep.
All right, Alive. I believe Alive and Destroyer are kind of 2 parts. Tala frees Grodd. Metron appears while Luthor's doing experiments, and Luthor attempts to reconstitute Brainiac, but he accidentally resurrects Darkseid, merged with Brainiac's technology. And Darkseid is heading towards the Earth on the beeline. And he reveals the invasion of Earth, and Luthor teams up with the Justice League to prepare for the invasion. And so all the villains and heroes team up to stop Darkseid, or prepare to, in this episode. So this is kind of a preparation episode. I'll go A.
Yeah.
And then the final episode, Destroyer. So we got the Justice League and Secret Society teaming up against Darkseid. And Lex is taken to the anti-life equation by Metron. And he figures out this is the only way to stop Darkseid.
It wasn't like Lex wasn't it like an 11th order intellectual or something? I forgot what the terminology was.
Yeah.
It's something like
And
that.
basically Lex and Darkseid get taken to the anti-life equation inside of a source wall. And then, so that's how he beats him. Lex basically saves the planet. And
But he also caused it.
all the villains at the end, they're like, hey, we cool now? And the Justice League's like, we'll give you a 5-minute head start before we catch you. And that's how the series ends. And
It's going into S.
I have to give it S. So, here we are. This is Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. And I feel pretty good about it.
Do you want to make any changes? Are you happy with this? You didn't even use D, so come on, there's gotta be something that's a D tier.
Screw it. Hawk and Dove and Legends. Your D tier.
I also love how it's like it's B plus B minus, but then it's just A plus A.
Yeah. I'll just rock with it.
Where's B?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this looks good.
So yeah. Thanks for
Alright,
watching.
Wait. So what would you say is your overall final rating for JL and JLU?
Alright, my overall final rating, I would give this a solid 9.0 as a series. This was very well executed. And
They both combined?
yeah.
So like 8.5 for JL and then 9.5 for JLU?
I'll go 8.8 for JL and 9.2 for JLU.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think an 8.5, 9 range is kind of where this falls in. Definitely recommend watching it for anyone that hasn't seen it.
Alright, so thanks to Sight for being here. Thank you all viewers, and you guys have a good evening and enjoy yourselves. Thanks for watching.